I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times. The headlines have been quite depressing and stressful as it relates to, tragedies, literal tragedies happening in Minneapolis. And to my friends and credit union family up there, I got to tell you, we're all thinking about you. I weirdly, as of this recording, I wanted to play a game today. It's one we played before about headlines, and it's that game that we played with Natasha and producer Zach. It's the game, Am I Too Old to Understand the Headline? It's where I read the first five headlines I find on TMZ and see if anyone other than Zach knows what we're talking about.
Oh, so me, in other words. Well, here's my answer. Yes. Yes, I am too old to understand
Yeah,
that.
because
But
last
let's
time,
see. Maybe
if you
you'll
remember,
luck out.
we didn't know anything, and Zach knew all of them. But I want to, yeah, okay. So I have five headlines. I
All
think
right.
Natasha, you and I are going to do pretty good on this, actually, compared to last.
Okay, we'll see.
But I know I'm going to need some help from Zach on this. Okay, you guys ready?
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Okay.
Okay. First headline from TMZ this morning as of the recording. Here's the headline. Shaw Carey Richardson begged cop not to arrest her. Police video shows. I have no idea who this is.
I
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea what you're talking about.
I don't know this one.
Really? You don't, Zach?
I told you last time we played this, I think it was just a lucky match for me, but we'll
Okay.
see.
All right. Well, here's headline number two. Okay, we all three failed. We didn't know that one. Christian Coleman busted for resisting arrest, drug paraphernalia during Shaw Carey Richardson stop. So it had released. I don't know who these
Again,
people
yeah,
are.
no, I don't. I think
Okay. Gotta
Yeah, I
tell
don't
you,
know.
it wouldn't make sense if I knew that one and not the first one,
I don't
I
know
guess.
anything. I didn't
I
click on the story
have no
purposely.
idea.
I was like, I don't want to know. This one
Okay.
I think we're all going to know. And this will
Okay.
give away when we're recording also. Don Lemon arrested by feds in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
I'm aware
woke
of
up
that
to
one.
that. Yeah, I woke up to that
Yeah,
news.
that's a
Like,
real
yeah,
problem there.
Hmm.
was shocked.
Okay,
Yeah.
this one. I don't have a clue. Here it is. Brooks Nader, lose the guy, love thy girls this V-Day. Who the hell is Brooks Nader?
I had no idea.
Zach?
Is it Ralph's daughter?
That's what I was saying. Is it related to Ralph
No.
Nader? Is that maybe
No,
Nader?
that's a really good question. Huh.
Other than that, I don't know.
Okay. All right, here's the last headline. This one I know. Lou Holtz, coaching legend, enters hospice. Football world praise. You guys
Yeah,
know?
I do know that one.
Do you
I
know?
don't.
Okay, Lou
Nope.
Holtz, weirdly, back when I was a child and growing up in Arkansas, he was the University of Arkansas head football coach. And I legit have his autograph. It's in a box
Oh,
somewhere.
Oh wow, that's actually really cool. Yeah, most people would know him as the head coach at Notre Dame.
Oh, crap. I forgot he did that. Didn't he go to South Carolina too?
He did South Carolina as well. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm. And I
Interesting.
still don't know that, even though I lived in South Carolina. But again, it's a
So,
sports thing, so makes
so
sense.
for this particular TMC game, I think we did a lot better than Natasha and I did better than we did last time. Zach, you failed. I mean, you
I
did
know.
terrible at this.
I,
Um,
I should have gone ahead with the plan to just be muted the whole time.
I know it's true. You're a
Yeah.
resident youngster, and geez. Okay, well, let's move on. We got a lot to get to. We're going to talk more entertainment news actually on the other side of this intro. But hey, everybody, glad you're here. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we are chatting with Daniel Betancourt. He is CEO of Finanta Credit Union out in Philadelphia. He's going to be talking about all the ways his CDFI credit union is helping to support economic development in his community, including through a new bilingual branch in Philadelphia's Aramingo Village. He was quite a guy.
Absolutely.
Natasha and I
Yeah.
were quite taken with him. We really enjoyed him. First up, we do have to take a break from the week. Check in with Natasha. Hey, Ann.
Hey, Em.
I am so upset at the news today. back to our celebrity discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
As of this recording, again, like a couple of hours ago or so, maybe even 4 hours now, was just this. Oh, hold on. I'm getting all sorts of alerts still on this news, but Catherine O'Hara passed away.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, what happened is you sent me a message and you said I'm in shock about the Catherine O'Hara news. And I was like, huh? Did she die? And you're like, yes. I was like, what? Because I don't get like, I try to not be so, I don't know, with the alerts and everything. I don't like having a
yeah,
ton of them all the time. So I will like go, if I want to see news, I'll like go to a website or whatever. But that's very sad. Only 71. And
yeah.
do you know what happened? All I
I,
saw that it said a brief
I
illness.
have
I don't know
no
what.
idea. I don't
Mhm.
know. Just she was so beloved for me, like growing up, and was in so many movies, and I loved her in
Yeah. What were some
you know
favorites?
Best in Show and A
Yeah.
Mighty Wind, Waiting
Okay.
for Guffman. All of those were so great.
Yeah.
I was able to see her in person during a panel discussion with the whole cast of Schitt's Creek.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like, I can't believe I'm in the same room
That's her.
as
Yeah.
Catherine
Oh,
O'Hara.
yeah.
But this was really, really hard to deal with today.
That is really sad. Yeah. Well, I always know her as, the mom from the Home Alone and Home Alone
Mhm.
2, because I kind of grew up with those Christmas movies.
Yeah,
And I think she was even doing something with Macaulay Culkin, like some kind of a collaboration or a like revisiting that. Or I don't know. I saw something about it. So I don't know if
sure.
she was in the middle of that and now obviously not going to do it. Yeah, that's what I always knew her as. And then obviously Best in Show. I've seen that. That's a really,
That
really
is
funny
such a
movie.
good movie.
Really good. Yeah.
It's so
Um,
good. So
well,
yeah, R.I.P. Catherine O'Hara.
let's dedicate this episode to her.
I loved her so
Have
much.
a, yeah,
Hmm.
that's too
Okay.
bad. Okay.
Well, what'd you watch this past week? We need to kind of get through this so we can get to
Yeah,
this interview.
yeah. I haven't really watched much other than my usual, which like every day of the week I'll have a different thing. So it's like 90 Day Fiance. There's like two of them right now I've been watching, and then Dateline 2020, and then just whatever true crime is on. So yeah, nothing really interesting to talk about. However, it is Eagle Cam season, and so
I
there's lots of
saw
fun.
that. Yeah.
Oh, did you see? Because Jackie and Shadow, they have two eggs this
Okay.
year. Is that what you
Okay.
saw? Because I think
Well,
that was
I
the
saw
the
that
news.
the Eagle cams were fired back up. There was a national news story about it, and I was like, oh my
Okay,
God,
really?
Natasha's back on duty.
It's just one of these things I thought was so obscure, and I don't know if I'm hearing more about it just because I've been watching it, so I'm also seeing more stories pop up about it,
Hmm.
or is it actually like becoming a little more of
I
a
don't know.
thing that people are looking
Hmm.
at? I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, right now, so the main ones are there's Southwest Florida and Fort Myers, Florida, and they have one baby that's
Okay.
now a juvie, 6 weeks old,
Yeah.
and that's a special one because last year that eagle pair lost both of their babies to the bird flu, and it was really
Yikes.
sad. So we're happy to have this one, and it's very cute. I'm watching
Hmm.
it sleep right now. It's a
Hmm.
cutie. Yeah, and then Jackie and Shadow, they have two eggs, so we'll see in about a month. We're going to see
Nice.
if they hatch. And yeah, and then there's Northeast Florida, Gabby and Bo. They have two little ones that are maybe a month old.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're really fun to watch. However, this is funny. So the main camera, there's like several cameras positioned around that nest. The main one of the eagles like pooped on it, so you can't see out of it anymore. It's like all,
Okay.
and no one can like go up there to clean it because
Of
you don't
course
want to
not.
disturb them. So you either have to wait until it like rains a lot or until the season's over and then someone
Okay.
can go clean it. I thought it was pretty funny. It was
That
almost like
is funny.
saying,
Yes.
stop spying on me.
Right. Maybe they are
Yeah.
self-aware.
Anyway.
All right, cool.
Anyway, all right. What about you? What did you watch this past week?
I watched a great movie from one of probably my favorite director, Park Chan-wook. It was a movie, one of his first movies from 2002, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, a South Korean movie. It is so
Oh,
good. This director
oh,
just blows me away every time. This is the first time I've seen this one, and I
okay.
loved it. It's part of the what they call the Vengeance trilogy.
Okay.
This one was first, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Natasha, you've seen Old Boy, that
Yes.
movie. That was
Oh.
his second movie. And the third
Oh.
movie is called Lady Vengeance, which is so good.
Oh. Okay. So what's it about? The one that you just watched?
It's a little bit complicated. It's little girl is kidnapped, but not in a real like evil way. It's kind of a weird situation involving kidney harvesting.
Oh,
So
okay.
but it's fine. But the main character is deaf and dumb, so he doesn't say a word the whole movie. The main character, and then the
That's an easy
father.
role.
Yeah, but it's so good. I mean, it's so good. The girlfriend is great. The dad, the little girl who's kidnapped, just wonderful, wonderful people, actors.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
it's a pretty complicated story. The two, the dad and the boyfriend going
Okay.
after people
Interesting.
in
Okay.
revenge.
Sounds like,
But
yeah, one of those you have to really sit and focus on.
it's
And
so good.
yeah,
It's so good. It's so good.
interesting. Okay. No, that
Yeah.
sounds good. I did love Old Boy, as we've discussed
Yeah.
in past
This
podcasts. So,
Yeah, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance is on Shudder if you have that
okay.
platform.
Awesome. Okay.
So is Lady Vengeance. That's also on Shudder. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our interview. Like you
Yep.
said, we had a blast with Daniel. Really, really good, inspiring guy. It's just one
Hmm.
of those feel good stories, about the credit union mission. I think
Yeah.
he's out in Philadelphia. He is the CEO of Finanta Credit Union, doing a lot of service to the underserved. Just opened a new branch that's bilingual, and yeah, he's just really cool. He talks about. And he's from originally was I think his parents from Puerto Rico, so he's Puerto
Hmm.
Rican.
Yep.
Father was a pastor, and he talked about how he sort of saw himself, Daniel did, as a financial minister in a way, like kind
Yeah.
of making it spiritual. And I think that's fitting for what he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he really just talks about the mission of the credit union and how trust and education are so woven into what he's doing with the with
Hmm.
these members, because it's people that don't really have money and have a hard time getting financing, and so they're really working on being that like family. He talks about how like you want to build the branch as a place where it's like walking into your living room and you feel
Yeah.
comfortable. So that was really cool. Also knows a hell of a lot about the regulatory process
Hmm.
of starting a credit union, because this was a newly chartered credit union a few years ago, I believe. So
Hmm.
really good information there. It's a great interview. You definitely don't want to miss it.
You'll
We
love
have
it.
that coming up next. Joining us in the virtual studio today is Daniel Betancourt, CEO of Finanta Credit Union out in Philadelphia. Hey, Daniel, welcome to Shared Accounts.
Hello, Natasha. Good to meet you and good to talk to you today.
Great.
Great to meet you as well. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I know you've got a lot going on right now with your credit union. So, yeah, very excited to get to know you and find out a little bit more about the good work you're doing. So, let's just start a little bit with your background, because this is our first time meeting, obviously. Just kind of wanted to get some more background on you. So, it sounds like you first joined your credit union as CEO in 1999. Can you just maybe tell us a little bit about your professional background, maybe prior to that, prior to 1999, and kind of what led you to this role? And also, it looks like you're really focused on advocating for financial inclusion part of your career. So, can you also kind of tell us what led you to focus on that and inspired you to do that?
Yes, I started in Finanta Loan Fund, we're CDFI back in 1999, and we'll talk more about it. But 4 years ago we launched Finanta Credit Union, and so we've been a loan fund for 35 years, and we did our 5 year planning and decided to open up a credit union, which is remarkable unto itself. After 30 some years, lift a big mountain and start a credit union, at least in our case. And so, but yeah, I started in 99 as a 30 some year old person out of banking. I was a commercial lender, vice president in a, regional bank here in the Philadelphia area. And,
Hmm.
was asked to come run this small fledgling community lending organization that provided business lending. I remember my parents being not happy about it because they saw that I had a car, corner office, and achieved, the American success. And here I'm going to this
Right.
two-person, business revolving loan fund, and
Oh, wow.
sort of the rest is history because we I've been here 26 years,
Wow.
really dug into financial inclusion and income mobility and wealth building, and along the way it was good for us to help entrepreneurs, but we
Hmm.
saw that we wanted to help families along the way, and then obviously we went to NCUA and asked for a charter, and because we had all that business experience, they really opened the doors for us to start a new credit union, back in 22.
Daniel, can I ask a really quick question then about your parents? Just
Yes.
because you brought it up, I think that's adorable. What were their worries?
First of all, my parents are from Puerto Rico. They came here,
Okay.
for economic opportunities and moved to the New York area. Eventually, we moved into the Philadelphia area. And so, for them, it was like, oh, their son went to college, got this, has this great job, and he's going to
Yeah.
some nonprofit organization in the business incubator. They just didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
you
Are
them
understand
asking,
that, yeah.
my partner, my spouse, and said, "Can you tell us what our son's doing?" They didn't ask me directly, so I knew they weren't happy
yeah.
about it.
Right.
Oh, well,
Well,
quickly, are your parents still with us?
My father passed away a few years ago at 95. My mother is living. Yeah.
Okay,
okay.
well, God bless them, and
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
I'm glad you've had them around to
Yeah.
ask those kind of questions.
Absolutely.
And can I ask just a quick follow up to that? How does your mom feel now about what you're doing? Has she seen that you made the right choice and proud of you now for
So she had to
your
wait, like,
fortune?
I don't know, 22 or 3 years to
Oh,
see a
okay.
branch return because, with the credit union, we have branches, but private banking or, setting up a business loan office is still
Yeah,
felt like, it's a set of generic products. We know our field is generic. But I
yeah,
think she got it, after a while. We know there's some of the businesses that she could physically see that we helped, and
of course.
some of the opportunities that I had in terms of speaking in the communities about different topics and showing her our annual report and the faces we were helping.
Yeah,
I think my parents definitely got it. My dad was a pastor, and my mother, was what I would say basically the co-pastor, and
yeah.
they got it that this is a calling, this is a mission driven business, and I think they probably would see me as a financial minister, if you will.
Oh, that's
Oh,
one I
cool. I like that. Yeah.
love every part of all of that. I really do. Okay, back to you. We could talk about your parents, I
Yeah,
guess, if you want.
yeah.
But I want to get to know a bit more about the changes that Finanta's gone through in the past 5 years or so, merging with another CDFI. I think that was back in 2020 and opening the first branch in 2022. Can you talk about, Daniel, what becoming a proper credit union with a physical location kind of meant for the organization?
I guess one of the questions that the board asked me
Hmm.
when I proposed this idea, because who in their right mind starts a credit union and right around, because we had to do the planning during COVID,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
middle
wow.
of PPP, the middle of a merger, I'm proposing to start a credit union. And after they got off their chair, they asked one simple question: are you going to move the dial if you do this?
Mm.
That was the right question. In other words, if
Okay.
you're going to do this, you go big, you do it to help your community. With a straight face, said, yes, we are going to scale this out. Everywhere where we have a business lending office, and there's 6 of them, we're going to open up a branch to start out. And so that's what we've been plotting out the
Yeah.
last 4 years. Happy to talk about that. That was their. I thought they would have asked other questions because they were clear on the mission.
Hmm.
I believe, they were clear on the why, which is to help families, because we've always been able to help entrepreneurs, and now we're going to help families get a loan for a car to go to work, and a mortgage so they can be first time home buyers and all that. They got that, but they wanted to make sure that we can scale it out and serve all the communities that we were serving at that point in Eastern Pennsylvania and Greater Philadelphia.
And that's kind of my follow up there is what are those main differences between what you could do prior to all these changes when you were known as the Community First Fund to what you can do today?
Yeah. We were known as Community First Fund, but then with the merger, we're now known as Finanta. But I think it's a difference between helping, private banking, helping individual businesses, like
Hmm.
more like having a big impact on entrepreneurs. But then, we couldn't help their families. We couldn't help the children, the cousins,
Mm.
people that needed responsible lending, but for consumer or personal purposes, we were never able to help. And yes, we did some things that impacted consumers, like we helped developers build affordable housing, and then but we weren't doing the end mortgage. We could help the entrepreneur and impact their family so they could buy a home, but it wasn't helping the entire family. We could help a business owner buy a van.
Yeah.
We weren't helping the consumer. So it just seemed like,
Mm.
and honestly, this sounds a little bit spiritual or maybe
Okay.
whatever. But I felt like, remember I told you I was a son of a pastor,
Yeah.
but I felt like we were the only organization capable of doing it, called to do it. And I was, this little pep talk of if we don't do this, who's gonna open up a credit union? Who's equipped
Yeah.
or who's best equipped? Like I said, you have to be a little crazy to do it, but it was more inspiration in realizing, hey, for 30 some years, we've been very successful. We're one of the largest business loan funds in the country. We're in a good position. And I believe NCUA will give us a charter. That was our theory.
Right. It sounds like you had a good foundation there to go off of. Because what I'm thinking this whole time as you're talking is just, bravo for being able to launch a new credit union because it's a very rare thing. It sounds like a very difficult thing. And we at CU Times, we heard about there was a credit union that just recently opened that's now already been conserved. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
it's very challenging. But no, that's great. And I did see some of those small business like success stories on the website. That was kind of fun to read. So let's talk a little bit more about the credit union and kind of what you're doing now, what your mission and focus is. I'm curious, like how would you describe Finanta's like typical member or the typical family, as you said, and like what are the financial challenges that they're facing right now, especially today when things are, not so easy for a lot of people.
Such a loaded question for me. But
I'm
one,
sure.
I wanted to say when you call the regulator, the federal regulator, they might try to talk you out of getting a charter
Hmm.
because they know it's such a big lift. And when we called them, that's the response we got. Like, you sure? We only really chartered one or two organizations. That was our staff talking to them. And then they said, Dan, you're the CEO. You should get on the call with those folks. And the moment that we share with them our 30-year experience, the fact that the organization has an investor grade, like a Moody's, rating and things
Hmm.
like that, the conversation turned 180. And we got through the process in 5 months. And some of the people in the industry were like, what? This takes a couple years. And
Yeah.
but just to tell you that I think they knew who they were talking to, one.
Yeah.
Two, you're asking about the profile of our client. It's the same profile that we've been working with entrepreneurs. It's people who live in low income communities. Like one of the things I had to, believe it or not, credit unions don't have to ask permission, but we do have a lot of bank friends, meaning that they
Yeah.
have funded our CDFI loan fund over a
Hmm.
very long period of time. And I wanted to make sure that they understood that we weren't going to be going after clients that were traditionally theirs. We want our affinity group are folks who are unbanked, people who are going to check cashing, people who are going to places that are predatory loans. And so that is low to moderate income people that don't believe they can get access to financial markets, to banks, or to maybe even credit unions. I don't know. But one of the requirements is you have to survey people. And what we find, the national data says about 1/4 of all Americans are either unbanked or underbanked. You can read Lisa Servan's book, The Unbanking of America. It's right there. And we
Hmm.
did a similar study in southeastern Pennsylvania, and it gave us very similar numbers. And we presented that to the regulators, part of our application, and showed that there was a big need and people wanting to get loans that they could afford, car loans, personal loans, and mortgages. And lo and behold, we've been working with organizations, particularly nonprofits, serving underserved communities and low to moderate income communities. One of the things that I will say, that as much as I want to tell you that we are a credit union, and we are, the thing that I'm very clear on, that one of our focus areas is two things. One is trust, and the second is education. And so in the end, yes, we're all providing financial products, but we believe our interventions in our communities are building trust, listen to the community, and then providing financial education. And we start there. And then I think that breaks down all the barriers for folks that are not part of a bank or part of traditional credit unions, and can come to an organization that sees them where they're at, meets them where they're at, and in our services. And I hate to use the word products, but we have products, but
Yeah.
our products are co-created with them, meaning that they're developed in a way that they can access, and then just being very comfortable with our staff because
Hmm.
they know them and they see them in the community, and they're not going to ask questions that they can't answer, and we're not going to put them through hoops that just see them as just risk oriented. We're trying to get to a
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we've had that philosophy in our CDFI loan fund, and we bring that into the credit union, and it's been very helpful.
Let's talk about access a little bit more, Daniel, with your new bilingual branch in Philadelphia, your newest one. And I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this area correctly. Is it Aramingo?
Aramingo,
Aramingo Village.
yeah, Aramingo Village is a mall on a long street in Northeast Philadelphia called Aramingo Boulevard, essentially.
Okay.
Aramingo Avenue, yes.
So you opened your newest bilingual branch there. Tell us about this particular community and why you chose it.
So one thing that we learned, because Finanta was founded in Kensington, which is within a mile or two of our Aramingo branch.
Okay.
So our strategy is not to build many branches because
Sure.
we have 6 offices covering 20 counties, and we weren't trying to do the bank thing by putting branches on every corner. We wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see our branches as a financial center,
Okay.
as an education center. So therefore, we had to build essentially one branch per county, if you will,
Hmm.
per region, because our 20 counties is 5 regions. So the region of Philadelphia, we knew would be one branch, and we didn't want to bury it deep in some neighborhood. So we kind of figured out where people shop, and where people shop tend to be like the anchor
Yeah.
businesses, the big
Right.
anchors like the Walmarts, the Targets, and all that.
Hmm.
So Aramingo, while it's not deep in a neighborhood where low income people live, 5 or 6 neighborhoods shop in that shopping center area. It's a big corridor there called Aramingo. And
Okay.
so we are I think we're in a location where people can visibly see us and come to us. Would I want 5 branches serving the area? Yes, but it's not going to happen
Hmm.
because we're being strategic because we want to build a branch system across a pretty large area, and I'm happy to talk to you about that. But
Yeah.
that was Lancaster was our pilot branch, the first branch, 4 years ago, and we just launched that branch in Philadelphia, Aramingo, just 1 month ago, a little bit more than a month ago, on
Oh,
December 5th of
Right.
congratulations.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about the branch.
Hmm.
This is just a month old, so that's exciting. One thing that we heard, it was actually when one of your media relations people pitched you to come on the podcast. She talked about that you've kind of leaned into a embedded strategy,
Hmm.
and meaning that you're hiring members of the community, to work in the branch, that they speak the languages of the community and also offer services identified by the community. Can you talk a little bit about that strategy a bit more? Just maybe give some examples of how that's being used in this new branch to meet their needs in the community.
And yes, the embedded strategy, any organization that started in the community like Finanta, we started in that neighborhood on a Second Street, Aramingo, and an American Street. These are all known streets in Philadelphia, the north-south corridors covering 30 blocks. If you think of it, it's 3 miles long.
Yeah.
These corridors, and in Philadelphia, that's not abnormal. In a small town, that would be such a big street.
Sure.
But we started in these areas where immigrants live, where low to moderate income people live. And so one of the things you want to do when you grow as an organization, we grew pretty dramatically, is you want to keep your ear to the ground.
Hmm.
And so in our last 5-year plan, the survey that we did, or what they call the environmental scan, or just listen to your community, said, keep your ear to the ground, keep understanding the needs and listening. And part of what people have always told us is we like when we come into your office, it feels like family. It feels like you know us, you speak our language.
Hmm.
It's not just going to any old financial business center. It's like it's going home. And I think that's what Starbucks do. That was their strategy. When you walk in there, every living room looks the same. It feels like home. They don't kind of chase you out. You
Hmm.
can stay as long as you want.
Yeah.
There's no average buy and things like that. And I'm not trying to compare myself to a big company, but just trying to
Sure.
share what the strategy may look like so people can
Yeah.
understand it. It just means when you come in, we speak the language that you want us to speak. It feels like home, and we're just there to have a conversation and really help you with, grow, your wealth or your income over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Just real quick. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's important because one thing we've heard as we've reported over the years about underserved communities is that they might see like a bank or a financial institution as intimidating, or they're just not comfortable with it. But this is a way to bring them in and make them feel comfortable and also stay away from like the predatory lenders that are out there. So, yeah, that's really. But I want just another quick follow up to that. You said keeping your ear to the ground, listening to what they want. I'm just curious, what are you hearing the most right now in terms of like what they need? Like anything timely kind of related to like what's happening with the economy or just certain needs. What is it that you are hearing the most from this community?
I mean, people are nervous. They were nervous about we have 18 small business lenders, and within the last 3 months, they've been really focused on going out, and they've been hearing concerns about the economy,
Mhm.
concerns about the tariffs. I mean, things that you would be reporting, what you hear in the broader media, but just a lot of fear around, what's happening in the economy and their job. And back earlier this year, I don't have enough employees, and employees are not coming to work, and just hearing all those things that you're hearing that's being reported in the media, but just hearing that directly from our community and our constituents, it did have a sobering effect on our staff. And I think that we had to have town hall meetings about this, what they were hearing. And, just saying, we're here for our community. Yes, that's a tough situation. We have to be very bipartisan. And yet, we can dig in and help our community and just let them know we're here to listen and we're here to help.
Yeah. You're needed more than ever, I'm sure, now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Daniel, how have you been kind of spreading the word about this new branch in this particular neighborhood? And, how have you just kind of been, you were saying your ears are to the ground, but
Yeah.
how are you letting people know that you are there?
I mean, I know most people would think I'm going to say billboard and advertising and all that, and that's all great, but that doesn't, in the low income community, that's not going to drive business. So, brand awareness, yes, we're doing the typical marketing things you would expect us. Particularly when you're launching a new organization, you have to do brand awareness. But honestly, it's the word of mouth. It's working with all the local nonprofits that are working with these kind of clients. Remember, we've been in the community for 30 years with our loan fund doing business lending. So just leaning into our entrepreneurs so they can carry that message for us. And just a lot of what we call tabling, going out to events,
Okay.
going to a lot of events where this community is at, getting them on podcasts like this, talking particularly on Hispanic media, on Black and Brown media,
Yeah.
on any kind of media there in Philadelphia that would listen to us. The Philadelphia Inquirer wrote that big article, as you know, on the launch of our institution, our credit union in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just I call it relentless marketing.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
every way you can imagine getting out there. And we know in marketing, publicity is nothing but free marketing. And so
Yeah.
that's what we focus on. But most of it is word of mouth. And
Well,
one thing I'll tell you about our business model, and this is what I've learned, because I wasn't born knowing how to develop a credit union business model, but in our particular case, we pay very high rates on money markets and CDs, so we can get capital into the institution, and then we lend out to people that didn't have access. Because honestly, I thought the business model was like pay what you need to get the capital and then provide the loans. And as it turns out,
sure.
you're not going to raise capital as quickly as you need to serve the community. So we grew essentially in the last 18 months from a $5 million credit union, and we're like pushing over 35 million if you look at our call report.
Yeah.
And it's because we understand our model, right?
Mhm.
Poor communities are not rate sensitive, although it's important to provide low rates, they're capital sensitive.
Yeah.
So therefore, I can pay an extra 0.5% on a money market and CD, and then charge a 0.5% on the loan because people are capital sensitive. So therefore, if I understand liquidity, if I understand raising capital, this is our business model. Provide people that want to park money there. People like that are listening right now. You have money to park it here.
Yeah.
And then we will use your money, cycle it in the very community. And that's a particular business model that I did not know 4 years ago. I understand now because ultimately I got to keep up with the demands of the community. We just launched a new mortgage product. Our home equity loan product, home repairs is really picking up. And so that's how I can raise capital.
Yeah.
So in other words, the word of mouth on a money market and CD is out there. And the money's coming in, and now we're able to serve our community.
Great.
It's somewhat counterintuitive, but you kind of fall into this business model if you understand how to grow an organization.
Hey, man, this is you again listening to your environment and listening to your community and learning what they need. That's how I'm hearing this.
Yeah, and the clients that park money are not our clients that borrow money. So it's like taking folks that love their community but don't need us for a bank and saying, "Hey, nonprofit, park $1 million here. Hey, business official, park money here. Hey, small business owner, you've been working for Finanta for 30 years. I know you stay with your bank. Please do that.
Yeah.
But do park some money here so we can help the community." And
Excellent.
that message is resonating. That message, I don't have to advertise. That message is a buzz right now in Philadelphia.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. So they're kind of helping each other in a way.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
yeah, that's a really cool way to look at it. I didn't
Yep.
really think of it that way before. But the next question was actually going to be about the small business lending at Finanta. So I know, you talked about that with the fund, the Community First Fund. So it sounded
Right.
like that was a focus there. I'm curious, how does specifically the SBA loans and the micro lending for small business owners, how does that fit in to your kind of whole lending picture at Finanta? And are you seeing that as like a growth area right now? How is that going? And then how are those loans performing, from your perspective?
So remember, Finanta is our business lending arm that's been around for 35 years, and
Okay.
so we've been doing business lending, since our founding, and then that organization, Finanta, started, as I said, Finanta Credit Union, and so last year we were able to lend about $60 million in small business lending.
Whoa.
So it's a
Wow.
pretty significant number. The
Yeah.
loan fund is about 150 million. And so,
Yeah.
to answer your question, that synergy between our small business lender borrowers and the new credit union, it's what's, I think, generating that growth, where
Mhm.
our business clients are coming in, open up business accounts, they're sending family and friends there. So these two organizations, one that started off as essentially like a community lending organization to small business, and then launching this credit union, which is independent and regulated, but similar name, and then all these synergies is paying off. In other words, if we would have started this credit union from scratch and not a very experienced, trusted sponsor,
Mhm.
I don't think I could be sharing with you the model and the success that we have today.
Right.
I believe you. Honestly, I am fascinated with your story, Daniel, and the lessons you were learning because you were listening so intently to your community. And I just think what you're doing is truly inspirational when it comes to the focus in the lending and the execution you all are pulling off right now. And I want to talk about a bit more. We just have a couple of questions left here, but your loans for housing development projects. What kind of needs are you seeing in your communities for affordable housing? And are there any current projects in the works to address these needs?
So, our business loan fund has been providing capital to developers of affordable housing, or contractors, developers. And
Hmm.
so we've been helping build affordable housing, whether it's for sale, a new home,
Yep.
or rental. And so we've been doing that. That's that's in that 60 million that I referred to, some of the developer loans. But we never were able to provide those mortgages. So the new thing is, we just launched our mortgage program in our credit union,
Nice.
and we just hired an originator. It's for the Aramingo branch. So
Oh,
we're
great.
on our way to provide. All these years we've only helped build housing and work with the developer, but now we get to help the consumer, and it's a really good feeling for us.
Yeah, congratulations on
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, Daniel, final question here before we go into part two of the interview. I just want to circle back again to that idea of that embedded strategy. You're really, entrenched in the community with what you're doing at your branch. How do you think other credit unions could implement a similar strategy and perhaps apply it to their own unique needs in their communities? Like what might other versions of that potentially look like in other places?
I would just say, like, in general terms, you got to talk to your staff. And is there a feedback loop from the community coming up to the organization? Or is it the other way? Do we, as organizations, push products to our members and communities, or are we co-creating products? Are we modifying our products? I mean, one example is if the community is saying, "Hey, I am here at some stage of my family life, and I really need money to do." I'll make it up. There, we found that there were clients that needed money for their attorney costs.
Hmm.
Mm.
$2,000 because I want to make my life better. I want to be a U.S. citizen, or whatever
Yeah.
thing that they need. I'm trying to be bipartisan here in my comments, but people have these needs, and if we listen, maybe we can develop things that they want, that they need. Maybe there's a car product that they need, right? That we have this generic product that just doesn't fit them. One example for me is we have loan products that don't require any credit score.
Hmm.
Now, we are
Wow.
regulated, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I can go out and raise money and create a guarantee fund because the community says,
Right.
I can't get a loan. And yet we all know this. People who can't get money are very loyal. I know that from our business lending.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
so, just give you an example. I think that a job is credit, right? Someone's been in a job 4 years.
Heck yeah.
Let's kind of be responsible.
Yeah.
So, what if I look at
Yeah.
the things that they're paying in cash? By the way, credit unions have been doing this forever. They've been doing alternative products for mortgages. I know
Yeah.
that credit unions
Right.
know this, but I'm just giving you an example that if there's a product that's not getting to people and we listen and they need it, let's figure out a way that we can get it. I'm just using this. I'm not saying that credit unions don't understand, because they're actually the best at what I'm describing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But because we are a new credit union, and we originally, everyone develops generic products, you modify them after listening, or if they're not getting to the community, I think you were called to change them. And guess what? It's what we found out in our CDFI. You're still going to have a low charge off rate. You're still going to have very loyal customers. You just got to meet them what they're at. And the only way you can meet them what they're at is by listening to their needs.
Mhm. Oh wow, I love that.
Great
I mean,
way.
that's really help it. Yeah, the person that just cannot get the money anywhere, you're really making it happen. Like you're finding a way, and you're proving that it's not a bad idea for the credit union either. It'll work. It won't. It's like not that high risk type of a thing that some people might be concerned about. So yeah, I love that.
Maybe one short way of saying what we learned in our CDFI loan fund, our micro loans that we do under 50,000, about a third of them are to startups,
Yeah.
and our payback is 99%. Now, how's
Holy
that
smokes.
possible?
Wow, wow,
It's
that's
only
incredible.
possible. You kind of see character in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll collateralize it. You look at what we call in the industry, mitigating factors and all that. I mean, you can overcome risk by looking at other things that will overcome that risk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, a job, for example, a spouse guaranteeing. I mean,
Mm.
technically, we know how to do this. People just really need access to capital.
Hmm.
I personally think the only decision that we in the CDFI, and I understand the regulated environment is a little bit tougher, but my thing that I told my staff in our CDFI was always just this one question: do we think we're going to get paid back?
Mhm.
That's a character question. And if we do, then we will figure out how to modify our loan products to meet their need. And I think
Yeah,
that drives us in the credit union, and that lesson learned here. So my philosophy has always been what you learn in this space, you apply to that space. And I think that's what's happening in our credit union. The niche lending that we have, which is lending into low income communities, all those lessons we can apply in the credit union. And
Yeah.
here's one thing I don't understand about regulation: the
Okay.
regulators only are testing the policies that you have. They're not testing you against things that you don't have in your policies. In other words, if your policies are very restrictive, that's what they're going to check on. If your policies are innovative and flexible, they're going to test you on that. And ultimately, yes, they're going to test you on your financial soundness. So that's why we went back and rewrote all of our policies to reflect what I'm sharing with you today. Because honestly, when you start a new credit union, what are you doing? You're doing very generic, off the shelf products. I mean
Hmm.
policies. And it's for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been rewriting them. So when the regulator comes in, they're only measuring us on what we said in our policies.
Yeah. All
okay,
right.
that was some good insight there. Yeah,
Yeah, Daniel, thank you
great.
for sharing all of this inside stuff and how you're approaching this. What I am hearing you say has turned into a really bright visual, and I can really see what's going on. So I appreciate your words and your tone and your passion for this, because now we got to talk about Daniel. That's the second part of this interview. It's not therapy, but I guess it can be. Daniel, you mentioned your parents in Puerto Rico. What is your hometown?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. You were born and raised there?
I was born in New York, and then raised in Pennsylvania.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, and so let's also go back to young Daniel. So before you did that, had that job where you said you had the corner office in the car that you ended up leaving to your parents' distress. Like, what was your very first job, like paid job, either like after school
Yeah,
or
yeah.
summer?
So first of all, let me just take you back to when I moved to New York. I lived in a part of New York that I never heard English. I lived in Brooklyn, and I
Okay.
went to Spanish
Oh
church. My
wow!
grandparents. So when I came here in grade school, it's the first time I heard English. It's hard to believe,
Whoa.
but it's the
Oh,
truth.
Wait,
So I start.
how old
and
are
you
we talking
I'm,
about
I'm
then?
5 years old,
Okay.
kindergarten, and I don't know what the teacher's saying.
Oh my
oh my
gosh.
So, but
gosh,
I will
and
say
you
I don't remember
learned
learning
it.
English because it happened so fast.
Sure. Okay.
But I remember certain things that were pretty traumatic. Not understand what the teacher was saying, but when you're young, I guess you're malleable and you learn the language fast.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're like a sponge.
But
Yeah,
the
that's a good time to learn a
sponge,
language.
and I think that's the why this work is so personal for me,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
being a son of an immigrant,
I told
being
you it was a little
distressed.
bit therapy.
Yeah, and I get to help, the community, and your community, my community, and
Uh-huh.
and and, and other folks that are maybe not immigrant, but just need an extra chance in life,
Yeah.
right? Because we serve a lot of rural areas, some very small towns, and people sometimes just are just trying to access the financial markets, as you
Hmm.
know. But your question, what was my first job? maybe grade school. My first job, it sounds so antiquated, was delivering newspapers.
Oh, good.
Oh,
And
nice.
so
Okay.
here I am, this 9, 10-year-old kid. This particular person was I guess he was a business owner because he would hire people to do routes in certain neighborhoods,
Yeah.
in the city. And this person, probably might have been 34 years old, but that person would have been very old to me when you're like 9, 10 years old.
Heck yeah.
He said, "Can you do this route? I'll drop this off here. I'll pay you that." And I went to asked my mother, and she was fine with it. And that was my first job. And I'm gonna say
Cool.
I loved it because I had to get up early and it was cold, but
Yeah.
that was the job that my parents were cool. And I remember my dad saying, "Okay, this is how what you're gonna do with your money. You're gonna save some, you can spend some, and some of it you're gonna help with the household."
Okay.
He was teaching me responsibility, but that that
Job,
that, that was
Dad.
my dad, right? He was
Good
always teaching me lessons,
job,
and
Dad.
Yeah.
then I went
Hey,
from there.
well, a couple of follow-ups on this really quick. One was the paper The Inquirer.
Actually, it was like it's a newspaper that no longer exists. It was called The Grit, if you can believe that.
Okay.
It was just like human interest story, probably like a People
Oh,
magazine.
okay.
Oh, cool.
And
And
Nice.
second,
yeah,
did you walk the route or was it on your
I
bike?
walked. I
Okay.
definitely walked the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long did you do that for?
Oh, I probably did that for more than a year, and I remember collecting the money, and
Uh-huh.
there was a lot involved with delivering and collecting, and then I would do just like any job. I would, it's snowing here, in the area, and I
Yeah.
would, if I wanted to buy brand new $100 sneakers, I would walk the neighborhood with my younger siblings, and we would shovel snow. I mean, and we could raise a couple $100 like that. It's
Yeah.
a matter of how long you wanted to work and how much
Yeah.
money you wanted to raise. And
Nice. Yeah.
my first, I would say, good job was internships during college,
Yeah.
and they were related to the financial field, and that really did set me up for a career in
I
finance.
love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Natasha, did you have
Yeah.
another question?
No, I was going to say, I think which other guest we had a while back who also was a newspaper delivery boy for his first job, Todd Harper.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Yeah,
Oh
speaking
yeah,
of
the
regulation.
chair
Yeah. Yeah.
of NCUA. That's
Yeah.
right.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like there was another one recently
I
who
think
did the
you're
same
right.
job. So I was going to say, you don't have to feel so
Yeah.
antiquated, or we've had at least two other people say that they did that as their first job.
I say that because I get like 40 newspapers on my feed that I pay one flat fee, and like I'm reading. I remember the local newspaper went online. I was complaining. This is not that many years ago. Like, oh, what happened to my physical paper?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they knew what I now know, which is the world was going to change.
Yep.
People wanted to read many more papers, and today I literally read 40 to 50 papers. Not every article, but
Wow.
I'm reading everything from the Miami Herald to LA Times, and
Sure.
even
Yeah.
the new dealer. I guess what is it, the plain dealer there in Cleveland, and it just goes on,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can read it from all different conservative to progressive, and all. I just get a great cross section, and it's right there on my hand, and that's why I say people just they want to consume more,
Yeah,
right?
I think
Right.
so. I got a question back to Philadelphia. If you had friends, family, never been to Philadelphia before, who were visiting you, where would you take them to eat?
I would definitely take them because everyone wants a Philly cheesesteak. So
Oh, yeah.
South Philly has competing places, and right across the street's a big rivalry, and
Yeah.
everyone lines up, and the presidents have been there and all that. Pat, and then Gino's across the street, and
Sure.
always a block or two long in the summer, and so you got to do that. And
Okay.
then of course, just about any Italian restaurant in Philadelphia is fantastic,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
pizza's great. But Center City, Philadelphia, today I think can compete any foodie town. We just, as I was saying to you, we just got the Michelin awards
Hmm.
coming into Philadelphia, and now we have some Michelin star restaurants. So
That's so cool.
it's people that were convention goers knew Philadelphia was a great town,
Yep.
but I think the world now knows that Philadelphia is a great food town.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I've never been, unfortunately, but yeah.
It's been years since I've been.
Well, I think, yeah, no, this sounds very sad, but I believe I remember having a longer layover at the airport, and had a cheesesteak like at the airport from somewhere. I don't remember where it was. It was actually really good. I
Okay.
remember it being good. I'll have to get out there. Okay, Daniel, two more questions before we wrap up here. Going back to, childhood, early, adolescence or whatever. What was the very first album or like piece of music that you bought or remember like listening to a lot?
Well, I certainly grew up during the R&B era,
Hmm.
Motown, R&B,
Okay.
70s and all that. So anything there, I love. I would say that James Brown, hearing him the first time, I was blown away.
Oh,
Which
okay.
song? Do you
I
remember?
can't remember any particular one, but
Yeah.
his music was so different. I'm like, who is this guy? It was on the what do you call it? The not the 8 track, but the cassette.
Sure.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing that and just wanted to understand what he was saying. Everything that's Michael Jackson was pretty remarkable.
Okay.
So lots of cool things like that. But the one album that I thought I had never heard rap music. That was just a brand new thing. So
Mm.
the Sugar Hill Gang, you remember him, you remember that
Yeah.
song. You can almost remember like where you were, where you heard it. It was on every radio
Yeah, it
station. It was
was.
just this thing that everyone wanted to be a part of. And the rest is history. Curtis Blow and all the
Yeah.
rappers thereafter were pretty remarkable.
Daniel,
And
I think you're
now
the
this,
first Sugar Hill Gang mention
I know,
on
right?
the
Quoting
show.
quoting that.
So good
But
job.
now we have Puerto Rican born,
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Bad Bunny, and that's
Bad
just
Bunny.
Spanish rock.
Yeah.
He's
Pretty
going to be in the
Yeah.
Super
reggaeton.
Bowl, right? He's
Yeah.
doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep. I wish I could afford that ticket. I'd be out. I'd
God.
be out there. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
That's fun.
Last question about pop culture here. What was the last movie you watched?
1980, just this weekend, 1986 movie. Robert De Niro that you probably did not watch in 1986 is a movie called The Mission.
Oh,
And it's in South America. It's about the Guarani Indians, and it's actors like some of the first movies. Like if I tell you, it's Jeremy Iron, Liam Neeson, Adrian Quinn. I mean, these are actors that are big
yeah.
today, and they're in this movie that no one knows about, and it's a pretty darn good movie. You can pay for it on demand. I looked it up on Netflix; it's not there. But I was looking at it with a friend that had never heard about it, and it's just 2 hour movie. It's early De Niro's pretty remarkable stuff.
Isn't this
Check it out.
like the Spanish?
Yeah, it was a fight between the Portuguese and the Spanish in South America. They were kind of fighting over land, and in the end, the Jesuits are in the middle of that. So the
Yeah.
Jesuits see the natives as people.
I vaguely
You know,
remember Robert De Niro holding a sword.
that's the movie.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay.
It's funny. I watched it. It's been over 20 years since I watched it before. It's like watching it for the first time. So do check it out.
All right. Well, Daniel Betancourt, CEO of Finanta Credit Union, really, really inspiring conversation. We really appreciate the work you're doing, and we wish you the best of luck with the new branch and everything that you have planned going forward. And thank you so much for joining us today. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Daniel.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for downloading today's show. Please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times in all the normal podcast places, and be sure to share the episodes with everyone you know, friends, coworkers, relatives you don't like very much.
It doesn't matter. Just share it. Feel free to rate us too. Absolutely. And as always, thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next time for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.